All right. Part two. Here we go. You were talking about, let's just recap the last episode. Your credit score sucked. You went to Credit Karma and you went to, was it CFPB?
CFPB is where I did a dispute for my collections. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you used those. Those are the two main resources that you used. And then also, you were paying down your cards. And it's great because from November to March of 24, 25, your credit score shot up almost 200 points.
Right.
And then the last thing we ended on was you can take out a personal loan and it won't affect your credit utilization. You can take that personal loan, pay down your utilization, and then just pay off the personal loan. So you take out debt to pay off bad debt. It's not as bad a debt on the personal side than it is on the utilization side. And so
hmm
that's what you were going to go into about the businesses of how you use those because in the business that you're in, transactional lending, you had to make sure that those were guaranteed.
hmm Yeah. So I think back to, the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, you know, take out debt to acquire assets, right? And so it's just like, here we are. So I took out the personal loan to then pay off the bad debt, which then allowed me to boost my profile so that I can then get money, funding to then go out and leverage to make more money.
Yeah, so
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 yeah,
you had your dollars, the tool, because at the end of the day, money's a tool. I mean, I
absolutely.
talk to billionaires, millionaires, people like that, whenever I talk with them, that always comes up. Money's just a tool, man. Money, it's not important. It is important, but at the end of the day, it can't make you happier. It can make you happy. Money can absolutely make you happy. And the things you can do with it, you can give it away, you can do all these things, but it can't make you happier. And money's just a tool. So when you have your dollars working for you, if you're just having it, you ever hear that story from Brad Lee when he's like, the birdhouse analogy? You got this
Tell me more.
all these. Let's say that you've got $1 million sitting in the bank or something like that. It's like, why? Why do you have $1 million sitting in the bank? Well, I'm going to save it for what? In case I need it. But you're building something now. You're alive now. You can't take it with you. You don't ever see a trailer attached to a hearse or something like that. So anyway, he was talking about this bird cage that, I'm building a birdhouse, but I've got all these really expensive tools over here, but I'm using a butter knife. Why are you using a butter knife? Because, well, why are you saving these tools? In case I want to build something. But you're building something now. Like, use the tools.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Use the tools.
utilize the tools from the personal side, yeah, to the pay down the debt, kind of like how Robert Kiyosaki, using those monies. So, okay,
hmm
please continue.
Right. Yeah. So it was really a matter of I knew that I was going to need to leverage my personal profile to build out my business profile and acquire the business funding. And so I, set up business bank accounts. So I can go in. Let me just start. I had to properly, structure the LLC. And so that's just simply a name that's not going to be high risk in it, right? So stay away from the industries where banks will look at that and deem it high risk. So anything that's repair, funding, trucking, right? So those are going to be high risk industries, right? A bank can easily look and see, oh, Alexander's trucking transport. Yeah, no, we're not going to fund that. We're not going to lend to that, right? But if I did, Alexander's, management or enterprise is going to be deemed less risky, right? So they'll ask you what is it that you plan to do and so forth, but obviously in the name, you're not going to have your book judged by its cover, right? So just making yourself less risky at face value, and then getting a business address. First mistake that I made at LLC that I set up 3 years ago was using my home address, right? And that a bank's not going to take you serious as a business if your business address is an actual residence because they can go up Google, they'll do research now and
Yeah.
see, okay, where is this located, right? So
Got to
then
have a
I
space, man.
got to. So even if it's just going to be a virtual address, right? I wouldn't recommend using like a PO box you can't use. I wouldn't recommend using a UPS store, but there are actual places that you can use. I use Anytime Mailbox, right? You can use Regus or you can use Opus. Those are going to be places where you can see, okay, close to where you are because it's going to be a place where you're going to be receiving your mail. So if you want to drive an hour away, I'd probably recommend not picking that location, but you can go onto the websites and Google within your radius and you'll see something close by, right? So mine is 25 minutes away. I had, set up my business address and I had got a business phone number. And so those are the three factors, right? Less risky business name, business address, business phone number. Because a bank, if they want you, if they, if we want them to take us serious, we have to look serious to them, right? And so I had those factors, and then also I just established the business relationship. I still have my personal accounts, but I just established the business relationship by putting in money into the checkings, right? I let it sit in there for a little bit before I was ready to finish with getting my utilization, waiting for that to report so that when my score went up higher, because I already knew what my score was going to jump up, but I didn't know what it was going to jump up to. I just knew it was going to go higher than what it was. So I waited for all those factors on the back end to kick in and report, and then went for the funding. And so with the two bank accounts that I first opened, it was with Chase and Truist. I was on the phone with the commercial banking managers, and I remember talking with the Truist manager first. And so she was telling me how the most that we can submit for is 25,000. That was just the products that they offer. They could be offered through, two cards or one card, whichever the case. Now, do you acknowledge or approve for me to submit this for approval odds, right? It should take about, 7 days before it comes back. And then, oh, wait, pre-approval came back right now. You just got pre-approved. That was the conversation on the phone right there. And that's when I was, oh, so that profile doesn't take long to have to approve or not, right? So it was one of those things where because of all the stuff leading up to that, the bank looked at me and said, okay, yeah, you'll be able to be approved for this, right? And so I was able to get 25,000 from Chase, and then I'm sorry, from Truist, and then also with my other bank account with Chase, I did the application as well, talked to the commercial manager, submitted the application. And then this is the funny story, right? Um, Sitting on the couch, my son, he's 4. He woke up to, go to the bathroom, right? And so I'm just sitting here relaxing. I might have been listening or watching something on YouTube or whatever. And then I just happened to think, all right, well, let me just check, right? Because I didn't see an email from Chase to know if I was approved or not. And so I had the app on my phone. And then I opened the app and then I scroll down and I see that there's another card on there. And I'm like, oh, the card came back. I didn't know what it came back as. So I was like, okay, this is the moment of truth. And I was like, God, thank you for getting me here. Whatever it is, I'm thankful because I got approved. That was what was most important. I got approved.
Yeah.
So then I go in and I click on view details, and it was 50,000 that I got approved for.
Cool.
That was the max amount that they give to a business that's under a year old without documentation.
That's
And what
amazing.
I mean by no docs is no tax returns, no revenues.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just all based off of projections and my personal guarantee. And so that 50 plus the 25 from Truist gave me 75 in 7 days. Yeah.
Word. Glory to God, man. No kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that though comes the question, which is, okay, yeah, you got good at the game. What happens if they change the game?
What happens if they change the game? So we can just look at trends just throughout the course of history. We adapt, right? We evolve to identify what these new rules are, and then we just fit within it, right? Like just I look at it, when we went from corded phones to cordless phones to cell phones, right? Like they just keep changing, right? So just little things along the way, we just have to keep up, and there's always going to be industry leaders that are going to understand faster and just be able to spread and pass that information along. So the game, and I would say to the point of changing, it's more so how to maneuver around changes being made because there are more strict policies put in place, such as the ability to just dispute things, right? So there's certain workarounds now. It's not to say that it can't be disputed, but they're making it harder to just complain and say, "Oh, that's not mine. It needs to be gone," right? So I would say we just keep adapting. We just, I'm one that's positioned myself as a student to continue to learn, to keep up with things and just be able to help others along the way because I'm a proponent of I'd rather learn from somebody else's mistake rather than learn from my own, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to be the one that made the mistakes or went through the minefield first to tell you, okay, this is the way that you need to walk to cross the minefield, right? We're all going to go through a minefield, right? Just with consumer debt and wanting to build up our personal credit. And then for those that want to leverage that into business, then it's just, okay, we're going to keep moving along that path, right? Of how we can maneuver into the space of business leverage. So that's really my take on it. So it doesn't necessarily matter what it is that change. It's just who do we seek out when that change happens, right? How do we position ourselves? Because change is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Things are always changing, right?
Well, the only thing that doesn't change is God. Other than that, everything's up.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Everything, but the only thing that is always going to stay the same is God, death, and taxes.
Yeah, we all die once. Hebrews, I think, chapter 9.
Right.
Um, okay, so final thoughts. Um, for those, we know what you have. We've heard it all. Well, shortened version. It's hard to put several years into an hour. Um, but it's impressive when people can do it. So I'm always grateful, hearing stories and making sure that it's coherent. And first of all, thank you, by the way, for at least coming on the show and sharing your story, and hopefully when other people hear this, they can start asking the questions. And I'm sure that they've been asking certain things that you've been asking, but now they've got even more of a headway into, okay, got it. Now I can get focused. What would you say like your major, and that you'd already talked about one of the nuggets, personal debt to pay down the bad debt, but another nugget, something that you're like, if I had to, if I were 15, 20, 30 years ago, what have you, just starting over so that I would avoid the pitfalls to begin with, what would you say your actions, how would they be different?
I would have
Instead of going and sinning, how would you not sin financially?
um be open to having a mentor or coach, right? In areas that are important, whether it's, you know, sports, right? Anybody they have to learn from somebody, right? There's
Sound like
somebody that
Bert
is
would say that everybody needs a coach. Everyone needs a coach.
everybody needs a coach, right? The greatest, athletes that we've ever seen, or the greatest musicians, somebody taught them something, right? And then they had a natural gift that continued to manifest and develop. But it all started with somebody kind of showing them how to use that, and then it just building up from there. I remember hearing it best, you know, Usain Bolt, he was the fastest man in the world, right? He still had a coach that was teaching him how to improve his craft, right? Michael Phelps still there was somebody telling him what he had to work on when he got into the pool, right? So, these are people that are cemented in the history books as some of the best ever athletes in their sport. They had coaches, right? So who am I to think that, Alexander Wallace didn't need a coach? I'd be a fool to think, oh, I'm just gonna figure it out on my own. And then yeah, if I would have known then what I know now, yeah, things could be totally different. But I don't live off of, oh well, hindsight is 2020 at all times. But yeah, it's just I would say get a
Be humble
coach.
with your finance. Get a
Yeah,
coach.
that too. That too. That too.
So get a coach and be humble with the financial beginnings because there will be pitfalls that you don't know about. So go out and look for that knowledge.
Right. Yeah, you're either gonna pay by your own mistakes, or you can pay for somebody to show you the right way, right? So it's more so price versus cost, right?
Yeah.
What did it cost me not getting a coach back then?
Yep.
It's a lot of bumps along the way, right? Versus the price of the success. Yeah.
So what finishing up, what do you think you need moving forward? I mean, you got 75K that you just got approved for. You got got your credit score over 800. What is it that you need moving forward, other than potentially more business? People come to you, but help us understand that.
Yeah, so I would say,
There's somebody out
next
there that
steps.
could solve a problem that you be going through. So if they hear it, they're like, I got something. What do
Right, yeah. So it's just I would say what I am looking to do is really add value to others, people that were in that same position that I was in, show them how to overcome that, how to get out of that, right? So just the abundance of response and feedback that I got from my posts of, yeah, I'm looking to do this too, or can I connect with you to kind of pick your brain a little bit, or hey, do you offer services, right? And it's like, well, wait a second, there's a need right there. So there's people that just don't know, right? And so me being somebody that's learned and continuing to learn, but just with what I know now, I think back to, a joke when it was amongst like a parent group, right? And if I want to teach my son something, I just have to be one day ahead of him in terms of learning, right? So if I need to teach him math, I just need to know one more day than what he knows, right? Or teach him. So I have a little bit more experience to continue to show him, right? So am I a self-proclaimed, financial guru? No, I'm just somebody that has learned from his own mistakes and has strategies of what will work for others that share that same common denominator as far as wanting to improve their credit profile. And then even more, wanting to leverage that into something greater than just having oh, I have a great credit score. Now what? What do I do with that, right? So I want to be able
How
to
do you
make an
serve?
impact on others.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just
You
here
want
to
to impact other people, and how do you serve other people?
Yeah. And so it'd just be, helping others along their credit journey and then also being able to leverage what I've gained so far in business funding and deploy that into more deals. So helping other real estate investors with capital, short-term capital that they need for, transactions to go through. That's the value that I'm looking to provide. And
Okay.
also get more funding along the way. So
Sure.
even though it started with 75,000, that we're not done with 75.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going to continue
Yeah.
to go. So yeah,
No.
yeah, it's a game. It's a game. So it's just a matter of the rinse and repeat method. I can go on and on, but we'll save that for the next update.
Yeah. Part three.
Right, right. He's now at 250,000. Right. So it's just we'll go there.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next episode that we do is when you start to hit a million of funding. So there's your
There
goal.
we go.
Challenge you. You got
Challenge
to get approved
accepted.
for $1 million. And I'll tell you what, I'll challenge you even better. Give away a million. That's going to be the hard thing, is giving away $1 million
Yeah,
bucks. But there's no other feeling like it. I am sure of that. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I like being able to give. So even when I can give 30 grand to somebody, or
yeah.
pay somebody 30 grand to get something done for me, like it's,
Mhm.
or even 50 grand, 100 grand. Like, I don't know what that
Yeah,
feeling is, but I know what it feels like when I can pay somebody 30 to get the job done. And it feels,
yeah. If you want to get more, give more. Absolutely,
that's right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Alexander, then we can stay on after this, but I'm going to end the recording. But just for the show itself, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for being helpful and useful. Thank you for being so kind to the audience and with your time. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, that part three, part four, part five coming out in the next couple of years or so. So we will stay in touch, and we will stay tuned for more throughout the years from Alexander. So again, Investor Hell, episode 9, Alexander Wallace, taking us through the ropes of credit repair and how to avoid certain pitfalls when it comes to destroying a credit. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. All right, I'm going to end this fifth recording here.